Should we get to news? I don't recall any big.
There was some gaming news. I don't.
There was some
don't know
gaming
off
news.
the top of my head, but there's no headlines this week that made me go, oh,
No bangers.
Can't
Yeah,
believe
no
Can't believe
huge
it.
acquisitions.
it's week 2, Microsoft. What are you playing at? when's the next announcement coming?
Well,
What's
I guess
going
we
on
can
here?
talk about Sony. Sony gave quite a few details regarding like backwards compatibility and stuff like that.
Was it this week they did the whole strip down of the PS5?
Oh, it was this week as well. Yes,
Okay.
so we can
This
talk
week
about
was
all of
long and short at the same time.
that. Yeah, this feels like every week lately. So
let me tell
basically, if you remember in March, Mark Cerny made that comment where he's like, the top 100 PS4 games were backwards compatible, and everyone's like, what? That doesn't sound great. You don't have to worry. It's like every single PS4 game is backwards compatible on day one. I think there's a list of like 10 games that aren't. And of the 10 games that were there was nothing that even I recognized.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're pretty much fine. It seems you can transfer your games. How the wording works is like you can transfer them using a LAN cable, which is pretty standard. You can also just pop them on an external hard drive and plug them in. I don't know if they run off the external. It sounds like they do, but yeah.
But I mean, if you have a digital version, you can truly just download it.
You can
again.
download it again. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And Sony said that these games will benefit from like boost mode. So essentially, any games that have unlocked frame rates will obviously run probably closer to like a locked 60. Games that don't have unlocked frame rates, I guess the developers will need to do work to unlock the frame rate if they want to do it. That doesn't necessarily mean that every game is now 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Obviously, games with dynamic resolution scaling will also benefit from, fewer dips. So
Yeah.
I know Sucker Punch already said that Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 will basically run it like in its performance mode at 60 frames per second. So
Bam.
I think I'm just going to pick that game up again on PS5 when it, because I dropped off of it quite quickly.
You did. Let's play it. It's good time. Good time.
Accessory-wise, it's still confusing as fuck. They still say if you're going to play PS4 games, it's better to use a PS4 controller instead of the DualSense. So the PS4 controller is compatible with the PS5. You will not be able to play PS5 games with the PS4 controller, even though Miles Morales is on PS4 and PS5.
And so is New Horizon.
There's no reason. There's no reason why that should be a thing.
Mark Cerny. What are you playing at here?
I don't understand. Like the whole argument, like, oh, they use DualSense features. Yeah, they do. But like, if my DualSense is flat and I've got a PS4 controller, or my DualSense dies, what the fuck?
Look, Sony. I don't know. We've beat this horse to death now, but like Microsoft have been real good about communicating their stuff, and like it just makes sense. Like for example, they come out and say everything's backward compatible. Well, not everything, but like everything's basically backward compatible. That was done and dusted like months ago. They announced that it's done, whatever.
Yeah.
Like only now Sony like, oh yeah, cool. Like a month, not even what is it, a month
it's
before
like 5
launch.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got some backward compatible stuff.
We haven't
don't
even
worry.
seen the UI of the PS5. Like, it's super bizarre.
And then with Xbox, every accessory works.
Yeah,
There's
it works.
no weird concerns or questions like, no, whatever you have now will just work on.
I mean,
I
still have concern. Well, I was hoping that this generation of Xbox would get rid of Xbox's stupid proprietary sound codec thing. Because we've both got the SteelSeries, the Arctis 7s, but there are still separate versions for PlayStation and Xbox, because the Xbox version needs to have a specific, like, I don't know if it's software or hardware, but a codec that communicates with the Xbox if you're going to use wireless headphones. Otherwise, they don't work.
Really?
Yeah, and it's stupid. Like, PlayStation is just like, if your headset uses a USB receiver thing, it just works. Like,
you can work.
That's way more consumer friendly and way better. But
yeah.
Backwards compatibility wise, your PlayStation headsets will still work, and it seems that any headsets will benefit from that 3D Tempest audio thing. So that's
cool.
pretty cool. You don't need to buy the brand new 3D Pulse headset. Although, having never owned a Pulse headset, I'm very tempted to grab one of those because they look very nice.
I have the PS3 Pulse headset, and let me tell you, that thing is fantastic.
That PS3 Pulse will still work on the PS5, which is pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Cross saves will also work. So Sony clarified here, they're like, PlayStation 5 supports cross saves, but it's up to developers to make sure it works, which makes sense. It's cool that they are like, it's not a limitation on our side, but it does seem like there is some work involved because like a lot of developers are supporting this feature on Xbox and on PlayStation are not. So maybe the work involved to getting that working is a bit weird. Yeah. I mean, even Insomniac is not supporting it for Spider-Man Remastered. So
like, nah, fam, it's too much work.
Yeah, that to me that's bizarre because I thought all first parties would be like, yeah, okay, you have to support this, but yeah, so you can transfer saves again using LAN cable or Wi-Fi, or if you have PlayStation Plus, you can use clouds because that's still exclusive to PlayStation Plus, which is garbage. So
nice, man.
The cloud is it annoys me. Like the cloud is so part of like how the internet works nowadays. Just make that shit free and put like a limit on, maybe sort of like how Apple and Google do it. It's like, yeah, you can get 1 gigabyte of drive, but if you want more, then you pay because obviously then it's space. But like, you still get that 1 gigabyte free.
Nintendo are also a culprit here because
yes, definitely.
Like a good example is I've been playing most of my Nintendo games on the Switch Lite. However, if I want to capture gameplay, I obviously need to play them on my OG Switch. And that meant having to sync to the cloud to get my save game. And my Nintendo Online's not expensive, but my subscription had lapsed about a month ago. I didn't need to renew it, but I was like, I need to get my cloud save over. So I'm just going to subscribe.
It's annoying. Yeah, I don't. To me, there should be a free tier to everyone just because like that's how the cloud works nowadays. And I'm pretty sure that if you use your PlayStation or Nintendo Switch in the way that we do with so many games, you would end up having to pay for that cloud, additional cloud. So like I pay for additional cloud storage on my iPhone, but it's 15 rand a month. You know what I mean? So
it's breaking the bank.
I don't get why that's still tied to Well, I do understand why it's tied to PS Plus. It's a money-making thing, but it's annoying and it should go away.
Well, other than PlayStation stuff.
Well, other than that, they tore down the console, so it seems like the plates on the side are really easy to remove, so that seems to indicate to me that they are going to make, customizable ones, sort of like... Actually, the Xbox 360 did this back in the day. They had customizable faceplates, which was quite neat. I've still got a Viva Pinata one. Very cute.
That PlayStation, though, massive.
That thing is huge.
I knew it was big. We all knew that, but seeing it next to who is the dude tearing it down? Is it like an actual person?
Not sure. Maybe he's a very small human being.
That's what I'm asking you, because when that shot opens, it's just him standing next to it. I was like, oh my god.
That thing's as big as his torso. It's huge.
4 times bigger than him.
Yeah, that thing is colossal. It's huge. I bet it's huge, but when they broke it down, I'm like, okay, they've clearly understood they need a lot of cooling because that heat sink in there is huge. It's absolutely massive, that heat sink. So, like, if that means the console is quiet, I honestly don't give a shit. Like, I don't care that it's big. I just want a quiet console. Like, I had to turn off my PS4 before I started this recording because it would interfere with the recording. Like, it's absolute nonsense how loud that console is.
I think that is probably one of the biggest criticisms they received on the PlayStation. So, it's a meme. So they had to do something about it. But yeah, really cool that you can remove the faceplates. I think that will open up a lot of, like you said, a lot of opportunities for customization. I do wonder what it means for their limited edition PlayStations. Because at the end of the day, the way PlayStation 4s work now, it's like built from the ground up. Here's a Destiny 2 console. It's white. It's got some Destiny iconography on it, whatever. Now, though, if I can just go buy those faceplates from a third-party supplier, why would I buy a custom limited edition PlayStation? Unless the middle bar is customized to some degree. Like, I don't know.
I think that's what they'll do, because if I look at how Nintendo did it with the Switch, that's kind of how they've done it. They've like the Animal Crossing Joy-Cons are available separately. The the Mario red ones were available separately, but there was iconography on the Switch itself and also on the dock.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That you couldn't get separately. So they get you there,
Sons of bitches.
But I would like it if like special edition of games came with like the faceplates. So it's like,
that'd be really cool.
You get
actually.
a faceplate for whatever game and you can hot swap it out. I think the new 3DS also had customizable faceplates, which was really cool. I think it's a really nice way to personalize your console. So again, Sony hasn't said that that's their move, but with the way both of them just popped off, I would be shocked if that wasn't where they were heading.
Problem with limited edition faceplates. After you play like 3 games and you have 3 sets of them, where are you going to store them? They're like the size of a car bonnet.
I mean, you say this, but I have so many Joy-Cons that I don't use. So
whatever, man. Joy-Cons for life.
Also popping off the side panels exposes the SSD compartment, which is cool. I mean, they showed where you just plug in a normal M.2 drive, and it seems like it supports all 4 sizes, or lengths at least, of the M.2 drives. Problem is that we are 5 weeks out from launch, and Sony hasn't actually announced any SSDs that are compatible with the PS5 yet. There are 2 on the market that, from a speed perspective, match what Mark Cerny was saying in March. But there are more factors than just the speed. It's also, I think it's like the priority of how the drive or how the controller on the SSD like functions. There's a certain priority parameter there that needs to be met, and also the height of the DIMMs on the.
Yeah.
So the 2 that are out on the market is the Samsung 980 Pro, and Western Digital's new black SSD, because they both hit, I think it's like 7,000 megabytes per second on the write, which is, I think you need 5.5 for the PS5, or something like that. It starts getting a bit fuzzy when it comes to compressed versus uncompressed speeds, and I'm not sure which one actually Sony requires. But those hard drives are expensive. I mean, Xbox's little memory card is $220, I think, for a terabyte. Samsung's 980 Pro is $230 for a terabyte, and I think Western Digital's the same. So, expandable storage on an SSD front, I think, is a luxury. I think we were saying this a few weeks ago. It's a luxury right now, but on the Xbox, you can just store games on an external and transfer them over when you need, and I assume that will be the same on the PS5.
Yeah.
So I think that is honestly the most. You can even use an external SATA SSD so that your transfer speeds are like 2 minutes, and those are much. You can get a 2 terabyte SATA SSD for like $150 now. It's like way cheaper. So I get that shit's expensive now, but I also don't think you need it now. So
yeah, just wait.
I also think Sony's approach, like, I get that it's easier from a buying perspective, like you can have so many options to buy SSDs, but I just look at, like, you need to rip off the side panel, you need to open up this little M.2 drive slot, you need to screw those M.2 drives in, because those are like, I mean, you've installed one on your motherboard, whereas the Xbox is just like, plug it in. So
there was that GIF going around this week and I loved it, where it's like, I don't know who did it, but it was a side-by-side thing almost. It's like, how to upgrade your storage on your next-gen consoles. And it's like the top frame is the PlayStation 5. The bottom one is just the Xbox. And the Xbox is like literally plugging something in.
Yeah.
And the top one, just a video of the dude like pulling open the PlayStation. Getting it like,
I get the 2 different approaches. I definitely think, for me, I look at Sony's one, I'm like, okay, it's cool that I can buy a consumer device, a consumer SSD, and just pop it in. But at the same time, I can see there being I can definitely see situations where there's going to be issues of people buying like ones that they think are compatible and then they aren't.
And they're not.
And it's like, well, Sony's making a list of ones that are compatible, but at the same time, SSD marketing, the way it is, like you go to an Amazon page and it says compatible with PS5 and you buy it and you plug it in, it doesn't work.
Speed, yeah.
I think Microsoft completely sidesteps that issue by making proprietary drives, which, they said they will manufacture with different companies. So I don't know what the price structure is going to be on those things, but I think if you're looking at mass market console owners, that's definitely a much easier way to like think about how to expand storage.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Interesting times. These consoles must just arrive now. We can all just
5
game and be
weeks.
happy.
5 weeks. What other
So
news
that's
we
your
got? What
PlayStation
have you
news.
seen?
Outriders has been delayed to 2021.
I keep forgetting that game exists.
Yeah, it's weird because who makes it? Who's the I've gone blank now.
People Can Fly, the folks who did
Those
Bulletstorm.
dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so game looks
fun.
decent.
Like literally looks fun. Yeah.
It's been delayed to 2021. So sorry if you're looking forward to that. You're gonna have to wait.
I think that's good because
bit
it would have
longer.
got lost in November. I think that game would have been just lost in the noise of Spider-Man and Demon Souls and New
Yeah.
Destiny and Call of Duty and So I think that's
But
a smart move.
Best news of the week: Bugsnax has a release date.
Bugsnax, hell yeah!
12 November, which is actually a lot sooner than I thought it would be. I don't know why. I
Yeah.
just assumed this game is
It's
coming out
launching
next
with
year.
the PS5, but it's also out on PS4 and PC on the same day. So
And now you have the song stuck in your head again. It's
fuck,
Bugsnax.
I mean, I saw there were some video previews out. Giant Bomb did a 30-minute gameplay preview of it. Game looks fucking weird and nonsense, but looks great.
But wonderful.
Yeah, it's got a great voice cast. My god, the
Oh yeah, when they revealed that, I was like, damn.
there's a lot of high profile voices there. So, but it looks fun. I'm keen on playing that. So it's cool that it's out on PS5. Remember Crucible?
Yes.
So that game, what a weird time for that game. That game came out. I reviewed that game. Then it went back into closed beta. So people who had bought the game could participate in the beta, but the game was no longer on sale. And now it's been cancelled. So
Okay.
it kind of
Is
did the
Crucible-
reverse of how a game usually works.
Is Crucible's the Amazon one?
Yeah,
right?
the one you played with me briefly.
Yeah.
That
That
MOBA
is so
shooter thing.
weird. Yeah. It went full Benjamin Button on it.
It basically did. Benjamin
Sorry.
buttoned its development.
Sad for the studio, obviously,
Yes,
but it's just very funny to think that the game literally went from being out to back to beta to just not existing, full on Brad Pitt.
My review is completely useless now because you cannot purchase the game anymore. So
Oh my gosh.
Well,
you know what?
it does show
Maybe
that
they
Amazon,
realized-
one of the biggest companies in the world, they can throw money at a problem. Money doesn't make AAA development any easier.
No, it makes me wonder, because I think that given enough time and resources, you can make any game work. You'll find your niche, you can make it fun. I do wonder if they were under strict timelines, if they're being pushed to finish a game by a certain amount of time. I don't know. I
mean, when I played that game for review, when we played it, I already felt then, I was like, the writing is on the wall with this game. This is not going to last.
Hectic.
And it didn't. So, yeah, that's, like you said, sad for the developers because I don't think any development studio goes out expecting a game to be a flop. But, it all depends on the resources they give and the money, the time, the expectation. And clearly Amazon as a publisher hasn't figured that part out yet.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, money doesn't just fix all your problems.
Some quick ones here. Microsoft reportedly has a plan to circumvent Apple's rules with game streaming by streaming through a browser early next year with xCloud, which is kind of exactly how Amazon is doing it with their what is their called? Theirs called Luna. Yeah,
Luna, yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
That's still wild to think though that I can open up my iPhone, go to Safari,
and just play
launch,
Xbox games. Yeah,
Gears 5,
just
whatever.
play Age of Empires 3 on your iPhone.
Age of it. Oh my gosh.
AMD announced new CPUs, the Ryzen 5000
Vroom.
series. They're very expensive. I think more expensive than I thought most people would expect them to be. But if AMD's internal benchmarks are to be believed, you're getting something like 25% better gaming performance, not just multi-core performance, just straight up in games, same
Really?
GPU,
Jeez,
same RAM, same everything, just different CPUs. You're getting a quarter more performance, which is fucking crazy.
How does that work? That doesn't make any sense to me.
So
Is it just the CPU just adding to that number crunching?
So the way I understand it is, so games nowadays are still very, very reliant on single core performance, which is why Intel for games is still the better choice. Because their single cores are hitting like 5.2, 5.3 gigahertz, whereas AMD is more focused on more cores,
multiple,
which is better for productivity. So the way I understand the Ryzen 5000 series working is it's got a slight bump on single core performance. I think the top of their range hits about 4.9 gigahertz. This is getting real fucking nerdy, so enjoy this. But the way that they've structured Zen 3, which is their new architecture, is that there's more instructions per cycle on each core, around 19%. So each core, even though it's hitting only 4.9 gigahertz, it's doing more per cycle.
More, yeah.
So that apparently is helping game performance. So, yeah, I don't know. Personally, I look at AMD and I think it's a really good choice now because it's still the only CPU that supports PCIe 4 SSDs, which is, the Samsung and Western Digital ones we mentioned earlier. You need PCIe 4 to get those speeds from them. So Intel announced that they're bringing out CPUs next year that will finally support PCIe 4. And I feel like we're on the precipice of a new revolution from both because DDR5 RAM just got announced. So that's coming into view very soon. Put it this way, you cannot keep up. Buy what makes sense when you are upgrading. And I think right now, from a price and feature perspective, AMD still makes the most sense, even though Intel edges them out in terms of gaming performance. I think if you're looking for all-round performance, AMD still makes sense. And I'm actually looking to upgrade to a Ryzen 5000 series from my 6th gen Intel, which has served me well.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Your PC is what, like 5-6 years old?
Yeah,
now?
the components are... It's like, put it this way, if I get a 3080, the CPU is going to end up being the bottleneck. Like, especially if I'm playing high frames. That's the problem
I had when I upgraded.
Yeah, essentially your CPU is a bottleneck because, your CPU only becomes a bottleneck when you're aiming for, plus 70, 80 frames per second, because then it's like your CPU is not keeping up with how many frames the GPU is potentially able to put out. But if you're GPU limited, which, if you're playing at 4K, you're GPU limited. Your CPU actually doesn't make a fucking difference at that point. So it all depends. It really depends. But those are out on November 5th, and they will be backwards compatible with the motherboards that are out already today, so you can start planning your builds.
Goddamn. Other news, Cyberpunk has gone gold, which means the game is real. It is coming.
Yeah, on November 10th? No, November 19th.
19th. November's going to be real lit.
Yeah, November, big games. Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk, long games.
And, CD Projekt are a great studio. Witcher 3 really is like it's still an exceptional game. Even 5 years later, really good. So their next game is, as you can imagine, highly anticipated, and I think from everything we've seen, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I feel like they've shown off too much of the game leading up to release, to the point where I'm like almost fatigued of seeing it.
Yeah,
like they're hosting another Night City Wire this week, and I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I just want to play the game at this point. Like, the more I see of the game, the less I want to play it, which is like a bizarre thing, but I'm still really keen to play the game.
Every marketer's worst nightmare.
Yeah, marketing's like, damn, we're doing our job and we actually going backwards type of thing. So
yeah, what's going on? But this year, think about this game in conversation with other games that came out this year. It's going to be quite a difficult choice, I feel.
Yeah.
For what's going to be game of the year? What else you got?
What else
I've got
I have?
one.
Go for it.
Rambo is coming to Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, right, yeah. They announced new characters for Mortal Kombat 11.
Sylvester Stallone is voicing him. So it's not just Rambo. Rambo is joining the game along with Melina.
Finally.
And I think it's Rain.
Yes, Rain, yeah. I think Melina is the one character, whenever I saw Ed Boon tweet, all the replies to him were like, when's Melina coming? So...
Oh my gosh. And it's actually, it's like, I'm glad she's coming because cool. OG character coming to the game. But it's the comments now are like,
where's Kenshi?
okay, well, no, it's a thing of like, you have some people saying, well, the toxic fans got their way, they just gave in.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think, imagine being Ed Boon and all you get day and night are people saying, where's this character? Where's this character?
Her design looks super weird.
There's something off about it.
Yeah, there's something off because normally she's like, she wears the little, I mean, she's good. She's wearing a mask in these COVID times, but normally when she wore the mask and when she took it off, she like looked kind of like monstrous and garish. Here, it just, something seems off. And I'm like not super into her design. So yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, the big takeaway from that's Rambo's joining the game and he's being voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
So you can play Mortal Kombat 11 and have Rambo fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator or
fighting RoboCop.
Or RoboCop. Yeah. What Jesus, what a game. What a weird thing.
I love that they can just lean into any like action star, any tropey movie and like it makes sense. It just makes sense somehow.
It's just bizarre. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered is coming out in November. I'm actually stoked for this because this is the last Need for Speed I remember really enjoying.
I was just going to say, the Need for Speed that literally no one asked for is coming out.
I mean, like, I wasn't like outwardly going, EA, you need to remaster this game, but now that it's coming, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
You and EA's replies saying like, hey, when's the
Skate
remaster
4,
coming? Come on. Look.
This one's cool. This one's made by Criterion. Well, was made by Criterion back in the day, and it was almost like a reboot of the Cops and Robbers thing. It was very arcadey, and I'm super into that. So yeah, I'll play this game again. I remember really enjoying this. So
if they want my money, they need to remake Underground. That for me was Need for Speed had like a slump over the years. I think Need for Speed 3 was the big one that everyone played like as a kid or years ago. Then
Underground, hell yeah.
Nothing really happened. And Underground came out during like the Fast and the Furious, that whole era of like,
it hit that zeitgeist cool. At a perfect time.
Yeah.
Like really did.
Good Lord, I played that game a lot.
I actually played a lot more of Underground 2. I really loved Underground 2.
I think Underground 2 is actually the one because that's when it went proper like open world. You can just drive around.
Everyone knows that that Snoop Dogg cover of the Doors song. So Get Low, or no, not Get Low, but there was that other one.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
but I
forgot now.
Remember.
But yes, that one. It is weird though. Games all went with that moniker of Underground. We had Tony Hawk Underground as well at the same time. Like. Just weird that, I don't know, strange.
It's a good time.
I think that's it.
That's it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Hyperscape's got season 2. Cool.
Fuck,
cool,
I've totally forgotten about that game. Hey, like absolutely forgotten about that game.
I don't know if it's got a play base, but cool.
Oh, the game, The Medium. You know that like.
Oh yeah.
That's coming out in December. Got a release date, so that looks cool.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, I associate the Medium with the Xbox Series X, and apparently it can get incredibly hot. That's one thing. That's the one thing that's come out, I think, from... it's because a whole lot of people got Xbox Series X's to play with and review. And a lot of people saying that thing runs super hot. So
the way I was following this during the week, and it seems like, as anything on the internet, certain comments got like overblown. So I think it was last week I actually mentioned that I was listening to the Giant Beastcast, and Jeff Backler from CNET there has a Series X, and he mentioned that he unplugged it from being in standby, so it wasn't doing anything, and he said it felt toasty. And people took that comment and were like, man, this thing runs hot, to the point where he came out on Twitter and was like, whoa, relax.
Just relax.
I would not consider it hot. I don't even consider it any warmer than the Xbox One X. And that prompted Microsoft to even come out and say, we got our engineers to retest this thing, and we can confirm it does not get hotter than the One X. So it's like...
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. The internet being the internet.
Spencer gets on the phone like, hey, retest that thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, this thing's toasty. Fuck, this thing's overheating. This is a red ring situation all over again. You know, that's the internet. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Full Spencer wakes up in a cold to like,
I would be floored if Microsoft ever made that mistake again. Because it was such a bad thing to happen. Like, For them not to have
Well-
that in the back of their mind for the rest of their lives. Yeah.
But with weird sidebar, I went to a press event a few years ago. I can't remember if it was LG or it was a TV manufacturer, like the actual factory where they make the TVs.
Oh.
This is Laser Gamer days.
That's cool.
I remember one of the rooms that they showed us is they have a room full of heaters and have a whole lot of TVs standing there. And it's obviously to test, like, confirm that, like, they can perform under certain heat conditions.
Okay.
But I just thought it's so funny that there's this room literally packed with heaters, just TVs on,
Just chilling.
just to make sure they. So now I can just imagine the Series X in the same kind of room and Phil Spencer like, are you overheating?
Yeah, he's just sitting there watching it. He's got like one of those digital thermometers. It's like,
Don't
Hey.
you red ring on me.
hey, are you going to overheat? Hey.
But I think that's gaming news really.
Yeah.